We're going to show Mac using his own system. Again, this setup has the carabiner to his belt and the lanyard directly to his DCD personal system setup. Advantages and disadvantages. We'll show him negotiating the bearing wall and some of the things that he has to be aware of. Again, proper technique is get that first leg down high up on the bearing wall. Now when he's approaching the edge of the roof and the soffit, you notice he uses that upper leg to keep the system elevated. He's starting to lean back. Dropping that second leg high on the bearing wall and stop right there, Mac. Okay, perfect technique. He's got good clearance. Again, still the 9-inch lanyard that keeps the DCD away from his body and makes it problematic when negotiating the edge. Remember, we're also going to have about another 4 to 5 inches of the gutter, so get to that point, Mac. Okay. Right there is where it's getting close to catching the gutter, but because of his technique and leaning back, he should still be able to make it. These are the things that you have to be aware of when you have that lanyard that puts the DCD further away from your body. Let's take a look at the setup standard for the department. Okay, now Eric is using our standard issue setup for the department. This is where we have the lanyard directly attached to the Cobra belt and the carabiner is attached to the descender, or the F4 in this case. The one advantage to this setup is if he did get the DCD pinned on the roof deck, he has that carabiner that he can use to kind of manipulate or rotate the F4 into a more optimum position to free it off the roof deck. But same issue. Again, with the DCD further away from his body with that 9-inch Sterling Kevlar lanyard, there's a greater potential of pinning the DCD on the roof deck. So Eric, go ahead. Getting that first leg down, high up on the bearing wall, leaning back. Okay. Now Eric is obviously a lot taller, but good technique. Start to lean back. He's going to clear the edge, but there's a possibility of catching that gutter. So you just got to bear that in mind with this setup. And we're going to show you how you can alternate or basically alter the setup with that lanyard on both Eric's setup, the frontline setup for the department, or a personal setup to bring that DCD closer to your body. All right, now we have the second option for the department, and that's the non-integrated setup, or not using the lanyard. If you look at Kyle, this setup is the carabiner directly attached to the Cobra belt. Again, we don't have that 9-inch lanyard in the system, so it's going to bring the DCD closer to his body, and it's going to make his edge transition at the soffit and bearing wall easier, so he should have more clearance. Same technique, drops that lower leg down, keeps it high on the bearing wall, leans back. Okay, stop right there. Now, again, Kyle's shorter than Eric, but you can see that his transition was easier without that extra 9 inches that keeps the DCD further away from the body. So taking a look at this setup, we're going to show you now on both Eric's and Mac's setup with what you can do to modify that lanyard to bring that DCD closer to your body. All right, looking at Mac's personal setup with the carabiner that's attached directly to his escape or Cobra belt, lanyard attached to the DCD, just the opposite of what the department standard is. What he's going to do is he's going to rotate his carabiner on the D-ring of his Cobra, open it up. You notice he's never detaching the lanyard, and he's taking the handle opening of the DCD on the F4 and clipping it right in. That bypasses that 9-inch lanyard and brings the whole DCD that much closer to your body, making it easier to negotiate that roof's edge and the soffit line. All right, go ahead, Mac. Again, with the lanyard shortened and bypassed. Stop right there, and you can see that 9 inches made more of a difference, not on the roof deck because he cleared the deck easily, but it's helping him negotiate that potential gutter that you don't see visible on the prop. Good. Okay, Eric now has the standard department setup integrated with the lanyard in place, and this is what he would do with his carabiner to bypass the lanyard and get the F4 or DCD closer to his body. Clip it in, then you lock off that beaner. Now, the one thing that you just want to bear in mind when you're doing that is that carabiner does put it more in a fixed position. You don't have that mobility or movement, that directional latitude with the lanyard where you can turn the device any way you want it. So you want to be kind of cognizant of that fact when you're hooking up so the lever handle is in a comfortable position. But again, you can see how that lanyard has been bypassed and the carabiner now is directly attached to the belt. All right, Eric, go ahead. I'm going to have you hold at that soffit line. Take it a little further. Lean back a little bit more. Hold. Let the hand out. Kind of see right there, same thing. Even though as tall as Eric is, with that closer DCD setup and bypassing the lanyard helps him transition the roof's edge and bypass that gutter as well. All right, and now we're going to talk about options when you accidentally pin the DCD or the device onto the roof deck or at the gutter line. On Mac's setup, this is his personal configuration, again with the carabiner directly attached to the Cobra belt and the lanyard to the DCD. The one disadvantage is if he does get the descender pinned on the roof deck, he doesn't have the carabiner at the descender, at the F4, to use as a torque device to manipulate the DCD in a more optimal position. So he has to be very careful when he is getting to the point where he thinks he's going to pin it and he places that device properly. Go ahead, Mac. So he's intentionally going to pin the device now. Now watch what he does. If we look closely at it, he's got the handle to the side. He can try to grab that handle and turn the device up like so. That's going to allow him to punch it, okay, as he's holding a brake hand, to progressively move it past the roof edge. But notice that he cannot let go of this brake hand. If he did, and the handle got pinned in the track of the F4, that's potentially a fatal mistake because now you're going to be in a free descent. So he maintains brake hand control as he punches that device until he can get it to the point where he can wrap his hand around it and then fully engage it. All right, now Mac's going to demonstrate pinning the DCD with the department standard setup integrated. This is with the lanyard pre-attached to the Cobra belt and the carabiner attached to the F4. The advantage of this configuration is that he has the carabiner that he can use to torque the DCD or manipulate it into a more optimal position if he does get it pinned on the roof deck. And that would either be handle down or handle up. Big element in this is that he always has to maintain brake hand discipline when he's manipulating that release handle in the event that it would get pinned in the track. So go ahead, Mac. Again, he's going to intentionally get it pinned on the deck. This is a skill that we practice. Okay. This handle is somewhat to the side, so he can take that carabiner now and torque the device and bring the handle up, and now he can slap that handle or just actually keep direct pressure on it as he slides down, or he can actually use the deck to release it. Maintaining brake hand discipline. As soon as he clears the edge and he can get his hand wrapped around the F4 and completely engage the handle, then he's good to go.